Reporting from the future. The year is 2021. Everything has changed. The coronavirus has been stopped in its tracks. Racism is gone. Wealth inequality, non-existent. We're all stinking rich. But one thing that hasn't changed is that Dead and Lovely is still the absolute greatest horror movie podcast in this multiverse or the goddamn next. And it is still being hosted by your best buds in all the land. It's me, your good buddy Uncle Ben.
And me, Hollywood Steve. Though we did consider a heel turn this year.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did consider that, yeah. How was your New Year's, Steve?
It was fun.
Yeah?
You know, hung out with the wife. It was a fun time. We had the old screaming chat on New Year's Day, which was a fun time. We watched Bloody New Year.
Never seen that.
Don't watch it.
Okay.
Don't waste your time.
That settles that.
Boy. Yeah, it was boring. It was very boring.
That's too bad, because that should be a fun one, man.
You would think so. It was odd, though. You know what? Honestly, it had... We kind of came to the conclusion that it has to be the inspiration for Lost. So it does have value in that sense.
Huh.
So
okay.
check
All
out
right.
Bloody New Year if you want to know where Lost came from.
Okay, that is a connection I did not expect you to make. I look forward to finding out about that one. Yeah, we did nothing, man. We basically just stayed home, and Kate actually had a ripping migraine that day.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so she was kind of down for the count most of the day. She managed to creep out of the bedroom there in time to sip some champagne at midnight while we watched today's movie of choice, Arachnophobia, which we'll get to after we catch up and chit-chat and all that kind of stuff. If you're too cool for school and want to get straight to the movie review, there's a timestamp for you, Busta. It's in the podcast description. Yeah, we don't want you to hang out with us anyway.
But enjoy the rest of the episode.
If you want to be my lover, you got to get with my friends, okay?
That's true. Make it last forever. Friendship never ends.
Uh-huh, that's what they say.
Like the Spice Girls.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. They're still with us, right? I think so.
They're all still kicking it together.
I think that's
all
right,
the time.
man. But yeah, we just basically stayed in and sipped a little champagne, and that's about it. It was a pretty casual way to spend New Year's, but you know me, man. I don't really get stoked about being like, wow, a new year. I don't really do that anyway.
Yeah. We didn't really do anything special at all, except drink.
But I will tell you what, my New Year's did kick off with a funny that I'm already trying to make a regular part of my thinking and vocabulary. Because the other morning, Kate was walking the dog, and she took the dog out, and, you know, she comes back, and I always ask, like, you know, if the dog behaved and stuff like that. And she's telling me some story about how they ran into some other dog. And she, in describing this other dog, referred to it as a male dog. And really, I was like, wait, hold on. Did you just call that dog a man? And it really got really fucking good to me to think about referring to a dog as a man or a woman.
Or a woman.
You know, because the thing is like you can call...
Who's this dude you say about a dog?
This guy. But the thing is like you can call it a boy dog or a girl dog. You can call it a male or female. But for some reason the line is drawn when you say man or woman. It's like you mean a human, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just an odd line to cross for me. So I think from here on out, like anytime I'm walking Zora, people mistake her for like a male dog all the time. I don't know why. I guess because she's big or whatever.
She's big, yeah.
I think I'm just going to hard correct him and be like, no. She's a woman. This dog's a woman.
Excuse me. This is a woman.
Excuse me. This dog is a man. I have a man dog. And you will refer to it as such. Man dog. So this has become something that I've picked up from my vocabulary for the year already, and now so can you. I'll tell you what else I did, though, man. On that day where we were just kind of chilling on New Year's Eve and Kate was recovering from a migraine and stuff, I did watch the best movie of 2020, without a doubt.
Okay. What was it?
Monty Python and the Quest for the Holy Grail. It's the best movie I saw all year.
That just came out recently, or is this?
No, but it is the best movie of 2020. I mean...
Oh, it was still a movie in 2020.
Yeah, so it was the best one. That's how that works, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Myth busted.
Topping best of lists in 2020, Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
It makes sense. And I think it kind of stays on brand for just how absurd the entire thing is. It had been like years since I watched it. Like, it's one of those that like you have on all the time. But I was doing some ellipting. I was ellipting on the elliptical.
Right, okay.
And I just put that thing on and watched through it, and it is just still so goddamn fucking funny. I think that is one of the most ridiculous, fantastic movies ever made.
I remember the first time I saw it, I think it was like 6 or 7, and we were watching it at my aunt and uncle's house, and just dying laughing at the night, the Black Knight. Like, really just, like, some of it, a lot of it's over your head when you're real little, but, like, it's silly. It like, definitely hits the kid, silly, funny area.
Oh, yeah. It's the most just random, like, anything goes at any time for any reason. Like, just destroys the fourth wall through the entire movie.
Absolutely.
Fucking genius, man. But I also did watch one of the best movies, probably the best movie that was released in 2020.
Okay. What was it?
I'm talking about Soul by Pixar, which was fucking incredible. Have you watched it?
I hear this. I have not watched it yet. I do want to watch it. But I also don't know if I'm ready for it. Okay,
here's the thing. Okay, knowing that it's like a newer Pixar movie, I was kind of like, I don't know, do I feel like crying tonight whenever I started
it? It's just been like, I've got a lot going on right now. Can I get into this? So can I?
Yeah, actually. Like, honestly, there's a lot of stuff in there that is just more about like finding your purpose in life and stuff, and the meaning of life and finding happiness and stuff. It didn't really gut punch me too bad, honestly, but it just really makes you think and really approaches things in a neat way, and has, of course, obviously, because it's Pixar, incredible animation and ideas and stuff expressed through the styles of animation and everything. I really think that you would like it a lot, as well as the short that went along with it, Burrow. Fucking adorable. It was fantastic, man.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in it.
Yeah, definitely watch Soul whenever you get a chance, man.
I'll check it out.
It was really wonderful. So
I did watch something on Disney Plus recently rather than that, which was Earth to Ned, which is never going to get serious.
I don't know what that is.
I've mentioned it before. Earth to Ned. It's a Jim Henson Muppet type of thing.
Okay.
It's an alien talk show. I've described it before.
Oh, yeah,
so people
with
regular memories will be like, yes, we've heard this.
Not me.
They had new episodes come out just a couple days ago, so I'm watching that. But that was like the debate with me. Was going to Disney Plus, like, do I want to get into this Pixar movie, or just, I know this is going to be silly fun. I'm gonna go silly fun.
As I said on the last episode when we recounted our top 5 horror movies of the year, I didn't really watch that many new things in 2020, but I know there's some good stuff that come out, So that inspired us to also go on the Netflix and check out another movie that was very highly praised in 2020, which is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Right.
Holy moly. Have you watched
Chadwick
it?
Boseman's last movie, right?
Yeah. And dude,
I haven't watched it.
It's fucking incredible. It is really, really, really amazing. And Chadwick Boseman, golly, man. I mean, you'll be just blown the fuck away by his performance. There were multiple parts in this movie, especially this one particular like monologue that he has. I mean, my fucking hairs were standing on end. Unbelievable. Like, unbelievable. It makes it all the more tragic that, of course, we lost him and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, man alive. He was amazing. And Viola Davis in it, fucking incredible. Everybody in it is incredible, man. It's an adaptation of a play, and it very much feels like it, where it's like long scenes in one room. You know what I mean? So it feels like a play. So keep that in mind. Maybe if you're going into it wanting something more cinematic, it might not be what you're expecting.
If you listen on headphones, do you hear, like, every once in a while somebody like...
Yeah,
or like somebody unwrapping a lozenge or something.
Exactly. Yep, and like coughing and farting at the same time, several times throughout.
Several times.
Yeah, it really recreates the theater experience in the year that none of us could go to the theater. That's what they were shooting for.
That's awesome.
That's right. Yeah, really good. Definitely recommend watching that. And, I also watched a couple of other things I want to tell you about, because I think after seeing Soul and after seeing that, I was like, you know what? While we're on a streak of watching real good things, how about we watch a real good thing that I ain't never seen before? I'm talking about a Doctor Strangelove by Stan
you finally
Kubrick.
watched Doctor Strangelove.
Finally watched it last night, dude.
Wow. Emily is going to be so happy to hear this.
Oh, yeah? Is that like one of her faves?
Yeah, and she has been livid that you haven't seen it, and has several times been like, should we just like drop it off at their place or something?
Well, now, again, 2021, everything changed. Now she doesn't have to be mad at me anymore.
Right.
Everything's different. Dude, it was amazing, and it was so not what I was expecting. It's silly.
Yeah, it's very, very silly. But like in a serious it's like presented in such a serious manner that the silliness is like so absurd. Like, I love it. It's I mean, it's hard to say it's one of Kubrick's best, because they're all true the best. So many, yeah. Well, they're not all, but they're. I don't know, man. I need to rewatch all the Kubrick movies, because I know that I didn't get Eyes Wide Shut when I saw it, and I haven't seen it since.
Dude, watch it again. We watched that last year, and holy fuck, it's awesome, man. It doesn't
awesome make
movie.
sense when you're 17, I don't think.
No, because I remember back then, whenever I watched it, I also totally didn't get it. Now you go back and watch it, you're gonna fucking get into it. I assure you.
Yeah, okay.
It's really good. In my mind, it's almost kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I thought it was kind of Coen Brothers-y in a way that, like you said, it's got these characters that are taking it seriously, but it's stupid at the same time.
It's a definite inspiration to Coen Brothers. Like, you can definitely see a through line into their work for sure.
Oh, yeah. And the very obvious parallels between the Cold War, between the U.S. and Russia, literally being a dick-sizing contest. It is expressed so fucking hilariously and so clever in that movie. I really, really enjoyed it. Also, it's tidy. It's like 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's not too long at all.
Yeah.
And it never feels long. It never overstays its welcome. Each scene is just a new, like, okay, what is this now?
Yeah.
Is he going to talk about his seed?
Yeah, his fluids. My body fluids.
Yeah.
God, dude. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And again, it just makes it all the more unbelievable when you think about the scope of what Kubrick did, where it's like he can do horror better than anybody. He did one of the greatest sci-fi movies ever. Yep. He also made one of the greatest comedies in 1964.
An anti-war comedy.
Yeah, man. Really, really awesome. So I definitely enjoyed it, and it does kind of make me want to go down that Kubrick rabbit hole, because I've not seen 2001 since I was probably in my early teens, dude.
Very long.
That's what I heard,
it's an art movie, but it does have a narrative. I mean, there's definitely the narrative there and stuff, but there's a lot of just interpreting, basically. And if you're into that, I like the most recent time I watched it, I was like, oh, I like this way more now.
Cool.
I even liked it as a teen, but like now as an adult, I can really appreciate a lot of what's going on there. But again, it's not like a date movie.
Okay, right on. Not unless you like really long dates.
Right. and dates in which you both are like, huh?
What was that?
Yeah.
Do you want to get a Chinese? What? Huh? But yeah, I've never seen like Barry Lyndon. I've never seen Lolita. There's still a bunch that I need to watch.
Yeah. Definitely worth checking out. He also directed Spartacus, or he came in and finished Spartacus, or started Spartacus. I can't remember how that went.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of really early movies that I've never seen either. So more stuff to check out and continue my cinematic education. Also, the other thing that we watched this week that was hilarious and fantastic, and definitely sort of, maybe take some of the stinger out of 2020, that I thought was very funny and very well put together and very fairly bashed everybody from all different aspects, is that Death to 2020 on Netflix. Have you watched this?
No, I
you need to watch it. You need to watch it. Yeah. Okay. It's real fucking funny, man. And again, it's kind of South Parky in the way that it just bashes everybody. Like, nobody's really safe from being mocked on that thing. Really good. I definitely enjoyed it.
I've watched a lot of stuff, Ben. I've watched
Yeah?
a whole lot. And I basically was, because we just last week did our best of 2020, and I thought of like all the movies I missed in 2020 and how like I know that best of probably isn't reflective of all the best movies of 2020. So I tried to watch some more movies from last year.
All right.
I watched Blood Quantum.
I don't know that one. What is that?
It's on Shudder. It's a zombie apocalypse thing where the only people who are immune to the zombie virus are natives in like I think it's in Canada, but a native tribe that is just completely immune to it, and it's interesting. It's got a lot of like cool stuff. It reminded me kind of Walking Dead. It has like both elements of like just a zombie outbreak movie where like the movie is the zombie outbreak happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like the first half of it, but then the second half of it is like cut to later where now it's a full-blown apocalypse.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah, so it gives you like both elements of that. So that's interesting, and it's got some cool stuff and some really good imagery.
Nice.
I also watched Spiral, which is on Shudder as well. It is about a gay couple in 1984 that move into a town, and there is some
fuckery,
a dark past and some fuckery, and some things get revealed, etc. Blah blah blah. It's got some really dark imagery. Worth a watch.
Huh. Okay, so it sounds like it's one of those ones you can't really tell me too much about, huh?
Yeah, I don't want to say too much. It is worth a watch. I mean, I'm not saying it's the best movie ever. I had some quibbles with some of the writing at times, but mostly solid, interesting movie.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'll check that out.
I also watched La Llorona.
La 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 Llorona. Do do da da da. No. Right? That one?
Yeah. Not The Curse of La Llorona, which came out in like 2017 or whatever, which I hear is not good.
I heard that was awful. Yeah.
This is also on Shudder. It's basically like blends Central American politics and war crimes and the La Llorona mythology.
So it's kind of like Spanglish.
In a way. No, but it's not for the faint of heart, and probably not for people who don't want to think about the atrocities in the world.
Oh shit.
It's good. I also watched Extraordinary. Extraordinary. It's a horror comedy. Had Will Forte. Funny and enjoyable.
I like that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me a bit of, oh shit, what's that Nick Frost show that I just watched with the ghost hunting? Truth Seekers. That was
it is. That's the one.
Yeah. Truth Seekers, which is great. Go watch it. Anyway, there were some similarities I could see. Both are funny. Truth Seekers is funnier, but it's a show. I also watched Spree, which has Steve from Stranger Things in it, and watch it.
Yeah, Spree?
It all plays out basically on like Facebook Live and stuff. And it is boy, you do not expect it to happen and go the way it goes.
Really? Okay. That sounds pretty awesome.
I think it's got some similar sort of messaging as like Cam does.
Okay, yeah, love that movie.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't want to ruin anything. Definitely check it out.
How does it compare to popular 90s gas station candy Sprees? How does it stack up to that? Less sweet, more sweet?
Far less disappointing.
Yeah, you always get Sprees and you're like, it's just sugar.
Yeah, they're like candy-coated sugar discs.
Yeah, that's it, man. It's like a puck.
Get it out of here.
I'd always get them, and then I'd be real disappointed and just wish I'd have got Shock Tarts instead.
Exactly. Everybody should just get Shock Tarts instead.
Do those exist anymore? Because those were awesome. I would totally eat those until I got like fucking.
There were so many
holes burnt
sour
in my
candies when we were kids that I don't know if they still do exist. Like, do you remember dinosaur eggs?
Oh yeah, dude! Fuck yeah! Oh, those are awesome, man.
They were all just variations of the same thing, candy coating with like citric acid in it.
Oh yeah, but it never quit being fun.
Never quit being fun, not once. There's one other movie, though, that I want to talk about, and I want to talk about it a bit more in depth than the others, because I know you've seen it, Frozen, from 2010.
Let it go, let it go. That's the one, right? Cold never bothered me anyway.
Yeah. But not that one.
Not that
the one. That
okay.
came out a few years before that, directed by Adam Green, I believe, about 3 people who get stuck on a ski lift.
Yeah, that one that sucks really bad.
I mean, because I know that is your opinion of it, and I also have huge problems with it. But I want to know, I need to get into your psychology here before we start. Is there anything redeeming about it for you?
It's been years since I watched it, so I can't say with a fresh enough mind to say if there was stuff about it that I enjoyed.
Okay. Because there was a ton about it I enjoyed, and I saw a lot of potential in it, but it squanders that potential constantly.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Okay. So, spoilers for a 10-year-old movie.
Look out.
One of my main problems is the element of the wolves.
Okay.
Wolves don't act like that.
No.
Wolves stay away from areas where people are regularly, like a ski lift.
Yeah, typically they do.
Wolves don't see people dangling up above them and go, a meal. Because wolves look for a simple meal. They're not going to like, oh, well, eventually that'll fall down.
Yeah. Yeah, this was like a hard mode meal. I'm going to go for that.
Right. I get that they had to make bad choices for it to be a movie, but they just made so many choices where it was like, this, who would be this dumb? I didn't have a problem with the characters specifically. I think the characters were written pretty well, like dumb 20-year-olds, which is what they were supposed to be, right? Like they're dumb 20-year-olds, but then like I don't know, man. Like, these guys have gone skiing a lot. They know how to conserve heat. I know that this is like a quibble where it's like anybody will say that, of course, they had to do this so you could see their mouths, but the entire time they're up there on that ski lift stuck, they're not covering their faces. And they have coats that would cover their faces. And their faces are getting like frostbitten. So like,
yeah, simple solution there.
Yeah, it's like, I understand. Yeah, it would be hell for sound, but it's also like, if you want me to get into the realism of this situation, you need to make it real. These wolves aren't going to show up here. I mean, the terror of just being up so high that you don't know if you can fall safely, etc. All of that was getting me. I was like, this all makes sense. And then the wolves showed up. And
then it just went out the window. You know?
And I was done. Yeah, I was kind of done with it. And the thing for me was, okay, look. I couldn't get a judge of the height, but when eventually in the end, she gets down and doesn't get hurt, it just makes me think, like, the first guy, all he did was just like, all right, I'm jumping, and just like scooted off. Like, if he had hung down, if they had made like a scarf rope, they had 3 scarves, that'll get you at least 8 to 10 feet. Make like a scarf rope, hang down, keep the snowboard on your feet. It's going to level out the impact when you hit the ground.
That's true.
Also, it started snowing. Wait, the snow's gonna accumulate. That's fewer feet you have to fall.
Yeah,
it's also not
second.
hard packed snow like the other snow would be. It just like, goddamn, so frustrating.
When you look at all those factors, it does become extremely fucking stupid and easy to get out of that situation, doesn't it?
So I'm assuming that it's probably because like a lot of people, when I posted about it, some people were like, I love it, and some people, most people were like, I absolutely hate that movie. I think a lot of it is the frustration of like, who would act this way?
Right.
But it also does serve really well for developing the tension, and like the character bits are good. I think it's just it could have been way better.
Well, there's other kind of like stranded type movies out there, like
open water
and shit.
Yeah.
I've actually never seen that because I think it'd probably give me a heart attack to watch that movie.
Dude.
That's my nightmare, dude. That is my
we
fucking
gotta do open
nightmare.
water in the summer. It is.
Yeah, probably should. Make me face my fears.
Then speaking of frozen, we're not frozen in time. It's a new year.
That's a clean transition.
I know.
That's
right?
good. It's pretty smooth. You're right, Steve. It is a new year, and sometimes whenever there's a new year, you set goals and stuff for yourself, and you call them resolutions.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
We've talked about our resolutions the past few years.
We have.
I had a resolution to lose weight. Nailed it.
Fuck yeah.
Take that weight. I had a resolution to read more this year. I did read more this year. I'm continuing both of those resolutions. I don't think I read enough. I read more, but I didn't read enough. And I've already said on the Two Towers episode, I'm going to read the Lord of the Rings. So I'm going to start here soon with The Hobbit.
Ooh, yeah.
Just want to start with the more introductory Tolkien book, because I have tried to start Lord of the Rings before and just immediately got thrown into his style of writing that I had trouble with. I'm not a big fan of.
I get it.
But hopefully I get into it.
Awesome, man. That's cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to be reading that and trying to read more books. And I've also resolved this year, and this is my big, like, new resolution that I have not been doing, that I'm going to start painting my fingernails because I like it, and I always wanted to do it, and I don't know why I don't do it.
Hell yeah, get in there. It's hard. I'm going to tell you what, it's not really easy.
No, I cannot do my right hand with my left hand.
Yeah, that's when it gets real tricky right there. I've had plenty of practice with my skank banging and stuff, and yeah, it's definitely harder than you think it would be, so...
Yeah, I used to do it in high school, and then in my first year at college, then I became Mormon, and I think I kind of internalized that must appear normal thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've been working against it, and I finally had this realization, because my wife and I, when we get drunk sometimes, she'll paint my toenails, and I realized, like, well, I like this, and I want to do it, so, like, fucking do it.
Hell yeah, go for it. Get in there. Put that hard candy on there.
Hell yeah. What are you resolved to do this year, Ben?
Well, I'll tell you what, Steve. I share a few with you there, especially like getting into reading books more often. I used to be quite the reader back in my day.
Me too.
And I think that, like, you know, nowadays when we all have social media and shit on our phones and all that jazz, you sit down, you're having lunch or whatever, the phone comes out. Whereas it used to be, I'll read a book. And especially here the past couple weeks, man, I think just because, you know, the coronavirus situation is getting so bad, and our home of Knoxville, Tennessee is literally the worst place on earth, although I think Arizona just passed us up. Not because we got better, because they got worse.
They got worse, yeah. Yeah.
But I've kind of been getting in my feelings and getting in my own head a little bit about all that stuff, and a lot of it is because, you know, it's like, okay, especially I go to the bathroom, I'm doing my paperwork, and I'm scrolling through and I'm seeing my Facebook feed full of people that are still just like, I can prove to you wearing a mask don't work. Here, let me smoke a cigarette and blow the smoke through my mask. See, it don't work. And it's like, holy fuck. Like, stuff like that I see day in and day out, I think just doesn't help me in any way. It doesn't raise my level of hope in humanity. It doesn't make me any less cool or less nervous about anything. So I'm just like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start fucking keeping books in the bathroom again. And I know that's just like
instead of going to the phone.
A lame thing. Yeah, exactly, dude. It's such a lame thing to be like, I'm going to try putting a book in the bathroom. But no, seriously, if you go in there and you read a book instead of just doom scrolling on your fucking phone, I've been doing it this week, and I've really enjoyed it, and I'm also getting some reading and stuff done, too, so that's definitely a big one.
That's how I read all of John Hodgman's books.
Yeah.
On the
They're
toilet.
perfect for that, dude.
Yeah, like there are books specifically designed for that type of reading, for just picking up for a few minutes and reading, and definitely worth reading too. So, yeah, that's a good call. I like that.
You know, so yeah, I'm trying to put the phone down when I'm in the bathroom. Plus, you don't be handling your phone in no bathroom. Man, nasty.
That's true. That's
They're
true.
nasty.
They got the poopies in there.
Mm-hmm, that's right. I mean, that's what I'm doing in there, so...
I'm putting it there. It doesn't come with the bathroom. You got to provide it yourself.
That's right. That's right. So that's one. The fitness thing, I'm definitely with you right there. I'm proud of myself because through the year of 2020... You know, at the start of the year, that was one of my resolutions is like, I want to get in shape. I've talked about trying to lose some weight and stuff for a while and just get a little bit more trim and all that jazz. 2020 was actually the most active I've ever been in my entire life. And I think that it's pretty stupid that it took me, you know, at that point, 35 years to actually make a habit of exercising. Now, the past couple of years before that, you know, when we lived out in the country, there was a school with like a track. And I'd go out there and I'd like run the track and stuff, but only kind of like when the weather was nice. So I'd probably do that maybe 4 or 5 months out of the year, every couple days, and just go out and jog a little bit. And that's the extent of my physical exercise for the past few years. And before that, literally nothing. Like I probably spent the first 30 years of my life literally never exercising ever. And so last year I kind of made it a point to be like, I'm going to, you know, just try to exercise a little bit. Started going to the gym. Of course, pandemic happened, so I started working out at home. And
sucked.
I actually stuck with it the entire year, which for me is a big deal. You know, for somebody that's literally never done it or played sports or anything physical, that's a big deal. And it's become a regular part of my routine, and it's become something that I even look forward to because the feeling of being kind of wore out after a workout, I think, is nice. You feel like you've accomplished something.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, you know, I kind of want to live a lot longer than the rest of my family. We people tend to die real fucking young because we don't take care of ourselves at all.
That is a similar motivation for me, too,
Yeah.
I mean, my family doesn't die early, but they're just unhealthy in their later years.
Right.
And it looks terrible watching it happen for a decade of just it's 10 years of pain. I don't want that.
No.
I don't want that.
But you know what? For a lot of people, getting into fitness and fitting that into their routine and all that can be really tough. We're all busy. We got a lot of stuff to do, which is why I've developed a new workout system, Steve. This is trademark Dead and Lovely stuff. Hope you're ready for this. It's called the sleep plank. The sleep plank, Steve. This replaces old traditional methods of lay down sleep and replaces it with whenever you crawl into bed, you don't just lay down on your back like a caveman. You get in plank position and do your sleeping that way. You get a solid 8 hours of planking in. You wake up feeling fucking shredded and all the work's already done for you. Sleep plank.
Now, I do not recommend this.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
But I do like this idea that somehow you could put yourself in a exercise position throughout the night. Like,
sleep like a baby too, because you're getting all that
like
workout. You burn all those
plank.
calories. Yeah, like a baby with fucking 6-pack abs.
I'm telling you, if you're doing a plank and it's comfortable, you're doing a plank wrong.
Ooh, they should not be fun, and they're not at all.
You should be engaging all them core muscles, them glute muscles. I'm telling you, as much exercise as I've done in the past couple of years, I have recently started focusing on my posture and my glutes and stuff like that, and doing specific glute exercises. You find out if you sit a lot, your glutes are weak as shit. They're weak.
This is going to come as a surprise to nobody, but I've been focusing on your glutes for years now.
Hey, all right.
No, you are right, though. I mean, considering that I live my life as a musician and music educator and YouTuber and stuff like that, I sit on my butt parts all the time. And, dude, that's one of those things that has been really shocking to me is, like, any workouts and stuff that I do now that do involve some, like, glute work. Holy cow. Like, I literally feel like fucking Chuck Norris has karate kicked my ass cheeks. It hurts, man. So, yeah, you're exactly right. Get them hip flexors
here with
working.
These weak asses. Yeah, the hip flexors, man. Those get tight from sitting down. You got to open those up. I just finished physical therapy for my posture. and it was great, and I still have a ton of work to do, but doing those exercises, it was like, because I feel like after last year, I the same as you, actually continued my exercise program at home and like really went at it and stuck to it, and actually feel like I'm stronger than I ever was before.
Totally.
Going into the physical therapist, he's having me do exercises on the muscles that are the problem, and you feel like just so weak. It's like a 2 pound, you're doing these things with like a 2 pound weight, and you're on like 5, and you're like, what? Why? What is this?
Damn, dude.
Man. So yeah, work those weak ass muscles.
I've never been to physical therapy before, but I hope and I assume that the entire time they're playing "Let's Get Physical" by Olivia Newton-John.
The entire time, yeah. And they just have people doing aerobics just to add ambiance.
Oh yeah, exactly. It gets you motivated and inspired to indeed get physical. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep up my fitness and stuff, man. I just want to be able to, be in better shape, feel better about myself, and keep myself alive, honestly. Like, I don't want to get jacked. I just want to live to see 70, maybe, which is something a lot of my family doesn't do.
But 70 sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds all right, man. I got to say, another one of my resolutions is just generally figure out a way to curtail and control my boozing, because I know that if I would have boozed less in 2020, I definitely would have more results to show for all of my hard fitness work. Because I don't know, man, like, I didn't think that there ain't no shame, dude. We've all drank too much in 2020, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm not. Yeah, absolutely. Unless you feel like you have a problem, I get it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, same. I drank too much, and I definitely can see like the little bit of like pokey outy liver belly.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. But the thing about it is like, the same way that I talked about figuring out a way to control my doom scrolling, I've also been trying to figure out a way to control my doom drinking too.
So you're putting liquor in the bathroom? I
put liquor in the bathroom. That's the only time I get to drink is when I'm in there reading my book and doing some paperwork. Oh, man. So, like, for myself, a couple months ago, well, maybe about a month or so ago, I started keeping a liquor log where, like, I just have a little tiny notebook that I write down everything that I drink in. Because initially, I was kind of writing down, like, everything that I was eating and drinking in a day, and I was figuring out, I was like, well, the food stuff is all pretty conservative. I don't really eat that much, and I eat pretty healthy. But then I was like, okay, so the extra calories are definitely coming from some fucking booze here, so let's just start logging the booze. So I religiously write down everything that I drink. And over the past few weeks, I was kind of looking over my log, and it's just like, man, it's really easy, especially when you work from home and you can't go anywhere and all that stuff like we have been all year, to be like, well, I had a glass of beer with lunch, and then I had a whiskey while I was cooking, and then I had a beer with dinner, and then I had 2 whiskeys after that before bed, and you're like, holy shit, that's like 1,000 calories.
Yeah, it's a lot when you start adding it up, especially beer.
Yeah.
You're just not getting around the calories with beer.
No, So what I've kind of figured out is working for me so far, and again, I've only done it just a couple days so far, but it seems to be kind of scratching the itch. You got to figure out the way your brain works and how you can trick it into doing what you want to. So I'm a like obsessive box checker list keeper. Like that's just how I get things done. I love to check off those boxes. So like every day on my liquor log, there's 2 boxes. And I'm kind of setting myself a 2-drink limit. So I get a drink, I write it down, I check one of those boxes. I have one more box if I want to. That's a start for me. I know that that's one of those things that's just like, well, you could just have willpower and not do it. Well, that's also not how my brain works.
Who are these dickheads? Dickheads always that come in and invalidate the premise of what somebody's doing.
Yeah.
Like, why do you do the thing you do? Well, I just told you I'm doing it to try to drink less. Why don't you just not drink less? This helps me to do that. No, you can't do 2 things.
Damn it. So for me, like just kind of doing the list and the checking the boxes is working for me psychologically. So I'm going to try to keep on and keep tricking my brain into thinking that's just the way that things are. And I think that will definitely help me along the way too here. So my only other goal that I have for the year, and I think this is also one that I had last year, fucking merchandise, man. Good Lord. Like, I need to get some t-shirts. I need to do some lesson packages. I need to do, I'm thinking about doing a book Sometimes people that watch the channel also listen to the show, so maybe you heard it here first. I'm kind of thinking about doing like a weekend wank book where I take stuff from the first 300
I'm already
episodes.
Intrigued for a wank book.
A wank book. I take stuff from the first 300 episodes because I'm almost at 300 episodes of Weekend Wank Shop now. And, tab them out, expand on the ideas some more. Obviously, I can't do licensed stuff, so there's not going to be Guns N' Roses lessons in there or anything like that. But all the original licks and stuff like that and exercises I come up with for people that I put on Weekend Wank Shop. I'd like to do a book that compiles all those together as well as adds to them. So that's something that's a bit of a goal for myself this year as well, because I feel like that's just money waiting to be made.
That's a
and
solid goal. Yeah, that's definitely something I think that people would want.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. So I guess that we will find out. I've kind of got everything really kind of set up and in place. I just need to do the work and quit being indecisive and shit like I typically am. Now, Steve, this being our first episode that we're recording in the new year, I think before we get on into the movie review ski, I think we just need to touch base with our fans, those dead and lovelies, those bustas out there that hang out with us on the Facebook, on the Instagrams, all those things, the people that got some questions that they need answered. Steve, how about we just slip on into that Preview Palace?
Welcome to the Preview Palace.
That's right. While we're in here, I want to A the F out of these cues.
Let's A the F out of these cues.
I think that we're gonna.
I've got some great questions here from Instagram and Facebook.
All right.
And I want to start with perhaps the most controversial one.
Uh-oh, hot take.
This is from Kalani Warpole.
Kalani, what up?
I don't hear shit talk about Delilah anymore.
Oh, fucking Delilah.
Did you squash your beef?
Dude, I just think she's so much more below us. I don't even feel like acknowledging her anymore.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, who? Delilah who?
Yeah, exactly. What? She's kind of been off my radar because I just don't give a fuck about that Delilah.
Yeah. Who is she anyway? Delilah.
Yeah. Ugh. If she was a force to be reckoned with, though, anymore, I mean, if we didn't fully vanquish her with our first verbal thrashings we gave her, I'd still be talking shit, but she's done. She's a has-been.
She's done. Yeah. She's done. It's over, Delilah. Gosh, just move on. So, this is a little more of a serious question. Is there any movie you'd like to revisit and do a new episode? This is from Brandon Wood.
Oh, like ones that we did early on the show or something like that?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I'm going to say that there's several because, the really early episodes of the show, we kind of did what a lot of other horror movie shows do and kind of walk through the movie.
Yeah.
And I like that on some shows. I think some shows do it really, really well.
Yeah.
But there's a handful of them that, I would like to do more in the style that we do now because especially, starting the show, we did a couple of heavy hitters pretty early on.
Yes, we did.
Like Halloween and stuff like that. We did some of those pretty early and kind of walked through them. And honestly, I would like to do some of those again and, do them just more observational like we do now. And especially like the Pumpkinhead episode. I think that was like our second or third episode. The audio on it was kind of fucked. So I wouldn't mind redoing that for a couple reasons.
Yeah, there are a few where the audio isn't so great because of we just didn't have the setup figured out yet.
We were just babes in the woods.
We were just babes in the woods.
Casting by candlelight.
The ones that I immediately thought of were things like In the Mouth of Madness.
I've been wanting to rewatch that lately, dude.
I don't think it was a bad episode. I just think I'd like to do it again.
Yeah, totally, right?
I think I'd kind of like to do the Thing, Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness as a single episode. Talk about the Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy.
Yeah.
Since we've done all three of them. Right. I don't know. The Witch is one of our better episodes, and I'd still like to take another run at it.
Right? Like, I feel the same way. Like, even like Phenomena, like, I feel like that's such a fucking crazy, stupid, weird movie that I think we would attack it very differently now than we did then.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, so, I think a lot of our early episodes where we just hadn't figured out exactly what we were doing.
Yeah.
I'd like to redo, but I don't even think they're necessarily bad. It's just they're not on the same level as more recent episodes.
Well, maybe the question we should be asking is like, maybe we should be asking the people that listen to the show, what episodes would you guys like us to redo?
If it's like you think you'd like to hear us talk about a movie more, or maybe you think we didn't get it right, either way, I'm cool with that. I know Steph Boychuk wrote me about what is that movie I always call my middle of the road movie?
Oh yeah, Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Autopsy of Jane Doe. She wrote and had some like ideas about it that made me go like, oh fuck, like I need to rewatch that movie and talk about it again, because
I'll tell you, man,
I didn't get it. I don't think that
Steph will come at you dunking. She'll dunk on you a little bit.
Yeah, she has some great,
but she ain't wrong.
Some great perspectives.
That's ain't wrong.
True. She is not wrong, and in fact, she has a question here that I would like to talk about.
All right.
What do you think the big trends in horror will be in the 20s?
Ooh, that's a good question. I hope it's not all fucking pandemic related stuff.
Yeah, that's what she says as well.
Yeah, there you go. I hope it's not that. I think it would be cool if they...
Don't think it will be.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think people are going to... I mean, they're going to try it, but I don't think it's going to succeed. People are just going to be tired of it. We don't want to see it.
No. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Is like... After coming out of this stuff, it's like we don't need reminders of what just happened. Like it should be like the Roaring '20s, where it's like whatever, fuck it, let's just party and drink beer and gin out of a bathtub, right?
Exactly. Leave the like pandemic movies for a decade from now, when the kids who had to go through this get to give their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what we want to see. I think I've talked about it a little bit. I think we're gonna see more absurd horror. And maybe even getting back to things like body horror and stuff, where we can kind of control the horror. Like, body horror is one of those things where, it centers our fears back entirely in ourselves, which makes us feel more alive than our current fears that are the anxieties of the entire world.
Yeah, very externalized.
Which makes us just feel like we're constantly in fear and dying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think some of that'll come back. And more horror comedy. I think we saw a good number of horror comedies come out last year, and probably we'll see more.
Yeah, could be, man. I think that one way you could draw some inspiration from the events that we've all been going through for the past year, while not just making it a pandemic-type movie, is to have more stuff that deals with loneliness and isolation, whether that be something like
we will see more of
28
that,
Days
probably.
Later style, or like The Witch style, like where things are just very isolated. Because I know that that's a feeling that I think all of us have now. It's just like, oh, we're isolated.
Yeah, there have to have been some movies that were being filmed throughout the pandemic that were basically much more isolated and far fewer characters. We'll probably see a good bit of that in the early 2021 of movies coming out, where far fewer characters than you normally would see and things like that, kind of feeling sparse. A lot of things where they go to big crowded areas. I think you're going to see a lot more of that. I don't know specifically. It'll have to be after the pandemic when they start shooting it, but I think you'll see a lot more of these like crowded shots. And it'll be to kind of work on that anxiety.
Yeah, because that's the thing, is like after everything is able to return to normal again, it's like it's gonna be. Let's be honest, we're all gonna have some sort of level of PTSD about being around big crowds of people and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you're right. If that kind of thing made its way into horror, it could be very, very unsettling after these events, for sure.
And I can also see zombie movies making a little bit of a comeback, though. I think the horror of the zombie, I don't know, it would be Contagion zombies most likely, and it would probably probably just not be zombies the way we currently see them. It would be more playing on the fact of like anti-maskers and people who just deny science. That would be what they were trying to reflect. So but those people are scary, so I would think they would be fast plague zombies, probably. These are all my predictions. I don't know. The 2020s, I think we're gonna have some good horror come out of it, though. Like a lot to really work with, which is sad, but Also, cool for horror.
Yeah, I think so, man. I mean, after the Black Plague and stuff, we got the Renaissance. There's always like a period of very high inspiration and high art and music and everything after very shitty times globally. So hopefully we see some good work come out of this.
I think we also might see a lot more anti-capitalism movies.
Yeah.
A lot more Carpenter type stuff coming out.
I hope so.
Because that seems to have grown a good bit. A lot of people got radicalized by the failure of the government. So, might see a good bit of that.
I think so.
This comes from Instagram, The Mad Beanie. What's a movie you wish you could erase from your brain so you could experience it again for the first time?
Ooh, that's a good question.
And what's a movie you wish you could erase from your brain because it's so bad you don't want to remember it?
So the absolute first thing that comes to mind when you say movie I wish I could erase from my brain for any reason to be irreversible. I still wish I never would have seen that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I do wish I could delete that. Like, if I could Eternal Sunshine that movie away and then also have enough of a memory to go, oh, that's that movie you should never watch again. Because it would be a real bummer if you erase it from your memory, and then because you didn't remember it, you just watched it again. Damn it. So I would have to remember enough. I'd have to like make a note on my hand every day. Don't watch Irreversible. It'd be like,
but it would like tempt you eventually.
Yeah.
You'd be like,
Why
wait,
not?
why though?
I would say other movies that I wish I could watch again for the first time. The Shining. Like, I really do wish I could relive the magic of seeing that for the first time. Yeah. Of seeing a movie that felt like it was reading my brain in terms of how much it was freaking me out. Pulp Fiction is definitely one, too. I wish I could just see that with fresh eyes again, because I still adore that movie.
I really wish I could see Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the first time as an adult.
Yeah, totally.
I think I didn't get the sheer terror of so much of it as a kid. I understood it to be very scary, but like it's much scarier when you get the full ramifications of everything that's happening, and it'd be crazy to experience that for the first time.
No doubt.
As far as wanting to fully forget a movie, man, I don't know if I have one in particular. I tend to avoid those movies. Like anything like the Serbian film or Irreversible, stuff like that. If people tell me it's super disturbing and I don't ever want to see it again, it's like, well, I don't want to see it the first time.
Maybe I'll just sidestep that one. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't feel like I'm missing anything there.
No.
Though I guess it would be nice to eliminate the Jaws sequels from my brain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, to just not know they exist. If I only thought Jaws was just this singular Spielberg movie, it would be like, wow, that is just amazing. But I often, when I think of Jaws, think of that terrible 3D shark in part 3 just floating. And it looks... Have you seen part 3?
I've never seen any of the sequels.
Oh, wow.
I know.
They're
Maybe
bad.
I should just leave it that
We'll
way.
have to do them.
That way I can wallow in misery with you.
Yeah, so you can... They're not so horrendous. It's just that I think that Jaws was such a perfect, like, standalone movie that if they had never made a sequel, it would have been better.
See, it's funny, though, because there's other movies where I'm, like, thinking to myself, what would it be like to rewatch the Lord of the Rings trilogy for the first time right now? And I don't know if it would make it better, because as we talked about in our recent Two Towers review, like, some of those special effects are aging a little bit, and I feel like if I watch that for the first time now, it might be all that I see. So it might actually not make it as good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one. The only things that I would want to change would be having seen horrendously terrible things as a child and wanting to see them first time as an adult, because the experience would be more intense. Not because I think I shouldn't have seen them as a child, but because I think it would be a cooler experience.
Yeah, it's like how I wish I could see Side Boob again for the first time.
Oh man, right? It's like, what? That's not the
every
front of
side boob is just like the first time though, so still works.
Feels
Magic.
like the first time.
Side boob.
Yeah. So the Horror Horde asks, will we see more Dead and Lovely YouTube videos? I really loved the Halloween treats tasting video. Oh,
dude,
thank you.
Thank you very much for one. I sure fucking hope so, because that was one of those things that we really were like super excited to do. And then I moved to the same fucking town that you live in. And it was like, cool. After the holidays and stuff, we can get this done. Yeah. And then it's like, and pandemic. Can't even be in the same room together.
Yep.
I hope so. It'd be really fun to.
It would be really fun too. Yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff we could do. I'm
a fucking jerk to work with, and I hope that I can do better whenever we do.
Yeah, it's real hard. The only editing is us figuring out what we were doing.
Yeah,
that's
sometimes.
Usually it. Wait, what were we doing?
Huh?
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope so.
It's not too hard.
And, you know, we were just saying the other day, too, dude, it's like, I can't wait till the day that we can fucking do this show in person again.
I miss it.
You know, it's like, this is fine. I'm glad that we can still do things this way, but it's not the same, man. It's not the same.
No, it's not. It's not. All right. Kev Bickerdike asks, if you could have any canonical horror film directed by a different canonical director, dead or alive, what would you choose? And he gives some examples here. Dario Argento's Vampires, or David Cronenberg's The Lost Boys.
Okay, so a horror film that could be directed by a different director. I mean, honestly, the one that's coming to mind first, and we'll talk about this more in just a second, I wish that I could have Arachnophobia directed by Tim Burton, because it just would have been way the fuck better. Like, that's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, we'll definitely get way more into that while talking about the movie, but yes, this movie needed to be way darker, and Tim Burton's that's a great choice for this.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see something like the Toxic Avenger approached by somebody with like an artistic mindset. Like, I'd like to see something that is intentionally supposed to be schlock made more horror. I mean, Cronenberg's a good choice for it because it definitely is body horror. I could see him making that way more intense and just a completely different movie entirely.
Yeah, totally. There's a lot of those movies that I could see Peter Jackson handling really well. Like, Anna and the Apocalypse, I would much rather Peter Jackson have done. Just like anybody, just somebody who could treat that stuff with some fun, you know?
You ask me, as though I'm going to agree with you. I love that movie, so no.
Fuck you.
But I can see Peter Jackson making Anna and the Apocalypse a good movie. But he's never done a musical, has he? I'd like to see that. Peter Jackson take a run at a musical, especially if he's going back to his like horror roots. That would be interesting.
I mean, of course, I would love to see, as I said on our episode, Tammy and the T-Rex, directed by The Lonely Island. I'd be extremely okay with that. Same with The Wraith. The Wraith by The Lonely Island.
Yeah, The Lonely Island needs to have a horror phase.
Dude, fuck yeah. I would be so okay with that, man.
Hear me out on this one.
All right.
Event Horizon, directed by John Carpenter.
Oh, count me in. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would be very okay with that. Movie. I think so.
I mean, Event Horizon has all of its charms. We go back and listen to our episode. I don't love it, but I think there's so much potential there. I think Carpenter could make it way better.
Yeah, I think that you're right. That could be really, really fucking cool. Or even Hellraiser, Clive Barker. Like, I think he could do a really cool job with that material as well.
Clive Barker could definitely have made Event Horizon a better movie for sure. Yeah, I would like to see, because that when I think of movies that I'd like to see done a different way, it has to be a movie where there was potential throughout, but I just feel like it never hit it. And Event Horizon's kind of one of those movies for me where it's like, man, I want this movie to be so good, and I'll watch it if it's on, because it's got so many great visuals and stuff, but yeah, just doesn't do it for me.
Yep, I'm with you, man. Totally back it.
I'm going to get to one last question, Ben. And this one comes from our pal Grayson over at the Sleeping Giant podcast. The podcast I've been on a couple times. Go check out my episodes or any episodes. He says, when are y'all both going to come on my podcast and let me be the cheese in a big old Dead and Lovely Sleeping Giant podcast sandwich?
Uh-oh. Look out. I'll tell you what. we'll come on your podcast. We'll come all over that podcast.
That's true. If we're going to be on your podcast, we should know who you are. And we know Grayson. You know why? He's been in our Facebook group. He's been a part of our group, and we've gotten to know him. So, of course, we want to be on his show. He's a
Cool
fun
cat.
guy.
Cool cat.
Yeah. So, if you want us to be on your show, interact with us first.
I mean, come on. Buy me a drink first already. Come on
It's like-
already.
To be on another horror movie podcast, I'd have to actually, like, listen to another podcast and also, like, do research for a movie and all sorts of stuff. And it's a lot of work. I'm willing to do it. Ben doesn't have as much time as me, though.
It's pretty tight over here. But, you know, the good news is we're swingers. We cast with other people all the time.
That's true. That's true.
We have an open cast relationship.
We have an open cast relationship.
Yeah, that's right. Just come and hang out with us a little bit. That Facebook group has been really great. That's actually been one of my favorite things about 2020. One little silver lining about 2020 and everybody being stuck inside and on social media more is, like, the way the Facebook group has grown and, like, everybody's kind of gotten to know each other more has been awesome. Like, I've really enjoyed watching that. Well, thank you guys so much for submitting those questions and stuff. We like to do these every now and then, so keep your peepers peeled, and I'm sure that we'll do another FAQ in a month or two, because we love A and the F out of those Qs. So thanks very much to everybody who submitted some good earns there for us today. All right, Steve, now that we're out of the preview palace, let's just sink our fangs, our arachnid fangs, into the meat. I'm talking about that meat of the podcast, Steve. I want to get a big old bite out of this thing. We're talking about Arachnophobia.
That's right. That's right.
From 1990?
1990? Yeah.
1990. That's right. That's right. And this is a movie that I remember seeing tons and tons and tons of ads for as a kinder kid, child, I was known as back then.
The spider just dangling by the web. Or there was also the picture of John Goodman looking all ready to rumble.
Looking like he was going to be a bigger part of the movie than he really is.
Exactly,
But,
yeah.
but he is the part you remember.
That was the selling point for me as a kid, too, because I was a Roseanne fan. So it was like, oh, I want to see this because that guy's fun.
Yeah, it's got Dan Connor in it, of course. So this movie I actually didn't see until, man, I was in my 20s. Like, I didn't see it when I was a kid at all. So this is one of those I totally missed the boat on when it came out. Did you see this whenever it came out?
Yeah, I remember renting it. I remember it had a preview for Pepsi before it. And I was drinking a Pepsi while I was watching it. It's one of those weird memories where...
On target.
I was probably around 10 whenever it came out on VHS. So I remember not liking it as a kid. And it
Pepsi, I know, it's not as good as Coke.
Yeah.
Never has
true.
been.
That is absolutely true. But I remember as a kid just being kind of bored by the movie.
Right?
Yeah, like the spiders and stuff didn't really affect me. And I get if you have arachnophobia, I would get if this movie scared you in particular. But I also feel like if that's your target audience, you're probably not going to catch most of them. Because why would they watch a movie about spiders?
Let's go see that thing I fucking hate.
Yeah, like not everybody's scared of spiders. I think there is and this is why you do a movie with a spider. There is an innate fear of spiders in humans. Like we look at them and we're kind of immediately like, oh no, that is danger.
Yeah, it's like snakes or something.
Yeah, but like the history of making horror movies about spiders is not it's not like heavy. It doesn't really, it's never really been successful. Like, so, I mean, it still doesn't work. You have, like, movies after Arachnophobia have had to go, like, full on ridiculous, like 8-legged freaks and big ass spider. Like,
make it campy.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, this is my like, whenever I watch a movie about sharks that isn't Jaws, because of that obsession with sharks as a kid, it's like, that's not how sharks behave. Like,
yeah.
I know enough about spiders to know that, like, they can't get beyond a certain size. And the bigger they get, the more fragile they are.
Yeah, because that exoskeleton's got some weight to it.
Yeah, it's like, it's heavy and chitinous and pretty fragile if it's got a lot of weight against it. This is why they crush so easily.
Right.
So those big spider things have to be campy. And then these spider things, I think you need to work more on like stealth, and they do that, but then that's boring.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean,
so it's hard
like
to make
said,
a good spider horror movie, I'm saying.
It's one of those things that is innately relatable to everybody, whether you are an arachnophobic or not. Like,
yeah.
You know, nobody sees a spider. Well, I won't say nobody, but most people don't see a spider and go, "Oh boy, a friend."
Right. Yeah, some people are definitely
Again,
spider friends. And there are a couple of spiders that I would say are legit cute. But spiders, they have like that alien architecture to them where it just seems so different than everything around it that I don't know. I mean, some people say that we may have an innate fear of them because, you know, you died of a spider bite in a past life or whatever. That's ridiculous. I just think it's the appearance of them. Like,
Miss Cleo told me that's why I don't like spiders. So, I mean,
well,
unless you're saying
dead,
she was lying.
Ben. So, looks like
yeah,
she
but her
didn't
truth
know everything.
lives on. Come on, dude.
Oh, shit.
I mean,
Miss Cleo,
her
I'm
truth
sorry.
lives on.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's the thing about this movie. Like, whenever I watched it, you know, that first time a million years ago, and then watched it again just last week, I'll say it's effective in some ways because I don't like spiders. I don't know if I'd call myself a true, like, full-blown arachnophobic.
Right.
But I do have kind of an irrational fear of spiders because I've never really had anything bad happen. Like, I've never, you know, fallen in a spider's nest or, like, woke up with one on my face or gotten, like, a brown recluse bite and nearly died or anything like that. Like, I've never had anything that bad happen.
Yeah.
It is totally one of those things where I just look at them and there's something about the movement and stuff like that that just makes me want to fucking vomit in rage, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's unnatural, and their look, it just, yeah, it does. It truly feels alien and gross to
dude.
Most people, I think, aesthetically. But yeah, I think as somebody who doesn't have arachnophobia, like, looking at the moments that are supposed to be gross, like a spider on your face, it's like, well, yeah, I don't want that. Like, I don't want a spider to drop down on a web onto me, but it's happened before and it never resulted in injury. So,
dude, back whenever we lived at our old house, which is very much in the fucking woods,
yeah,
the amount of spiders and stuff we had at that place was unbelievable. And dude, some of them were huge. I'm talking like the biggest spiders I've seen in fucking Tennessee. Like,
right, yeah.
I don't know where these things came from. And I will say, absolutely, there were definitely times where I would pull a total Jeff Daniels and be like, honey, you got to come in here and kill this fucking spider.
Oh, yeah. Emily, all the time, having me kill spiders. I get it. Yeah, if you're arachnophobic, it is like not even just like, oh, I could just kill it and get rid of it. It's like, I don't want to be anywhere near it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like I've definitely, you know, in having to dispose of some of them myself, I've definitely, like, not stepped on it, but thrown a shoe at it.
Yes.
I got pretty good at it, I gotta say. Like, it's one of those things, dude, I do feel like a dick about because spiders are extremely valuable, you know, and they eat up a lot of the bad bugs and stuff like that. I know, but I just don't want them living with me.
No, I get it. So, like, this movie that's like the problem, though. It's aimed at people who aren't gonna go out and see it, and then the other people who are just kind of grossed out by spiders, it doesn't have enough, I don't think, to really fulfill you for fear or like horror, and then it doesn't have enough comedy to make up for it, because this could just be funny and you don't have to worry about it. Like,
yeah,
if people aren't too scared, it's like, well, that's not the point. The point is that scary stuff's happening and it's also humorous.
Well, the thing about this is that I think made it so effective for the time with a lot of people, because I know there are a lot of people that love this movie that saw it when they were kids and totally remember watching with their families and stuff. I think part of what made it so effective is, like, at this time period, you know, in 1990 when this came out, we were kind of in the middle of this, like, weird satanic bug panic where it was like, killer bees are coming from Brazil to kill you all. Fire ants are marching north right now. Like, I remember hearing all through my childhood that, like, fire ants, they're coming to Tennessee. They're on their way right now. Watch out. So are the killer bees. Like, there was some kind of weird nature panic there when we were kids that never came to fruition.
It had to do with the increase in like awareness of the environment and the damage that we were doing to it.
Because they were migrating away from places that were being fucking destroyed.
Right, and yeah, invasive species became a bigger problem. The fact is, coyotes didn't used to be in Tennessee. And now we have coyotes like all over the place. So,
coyotes?
Yeah, so like invasive species became a real situation that people were dealing with. And of course, you talk about invasive species and it reminds you of the bug movies and creature features and monster movies of the 50s and stuff like that were always about, like, not always, but often about these fears of immigration and stuff like that, these invasive species
the
that are being
commies.
presented. Yeah. And I think this movie, I was looking for that, and I have some issues with the way they talk to the native guy in Venezuela, but I don't think this is about a fear of immigration. This is more about that, like, environmental, like, invasive species message, because it even ends with a Jimmy Buffett, like, song that's like this pro spider song.
Oh man, that song. That song.
Yeah, it's strange, but I think it's because it's a Disney movie. This is a Disney horror movie, so it's going for something. It's trying to teach kids something. It never gets too, like, scary or violent, but because of that, it doesn't really appeal too much to adults. I can see why maybe kids just, like, connected to it, but I was a kid when I watched it, and it just didn't do it for me. It just, like, the humor. I mean, again, love seeing John Goodman. He's funny, and the funniest part of the movie, but that's it. He's not in it much.
That's the thing, man. Is like, if you're a kid watching this, you probably really liked John Goodman, and you probably really liked all the parts at the very end of the movie with the spiders and stuff like action. That, because it made you squirm. But dude, there's so much of this movie, like, dude, the beginning and the middle of the movie are really just a fucking crawl, man. Like, they're really pretty boring. And I can't imagine being a kid and, like, being super into that, you know?
No. And so for me, I remember as a kid, it is the opening bit that does it, that kind of kills it, because it's like 20 minutes long, basically.
It's long, dude.
Yeah. Them searching for butterflies and then accidentally discovering a new spider, and then not doing any sort of research on it immediately, and then a guy getting killed by its bite, and then of course they're like,
it sneaks in his coffin.
It's like it's showing some sort of scientific hubris, but again, it's not exactly one of those, like, science gone wrong movies. It just doesn't fit with the normal mold of a creature feature or a monster film, even though that's what they're going for.
Yeah, I think so. And like you said, that setup really does kind of kill the momentum pretty fucking fast.
Yep.
It sets up very much like Jurassic Park in a lot of ways, only Jurassic Park gets right down to work really quickly, whereas this, you know, again, you got this elaborate setup like you talked about, where they're in the jungles and they go to this big chasm and there's fucking Angel Falls and stuff up there, and there's a guide that won't go any further, and they gotta smoke all the bugs out of the trees, and it's like, ultimately, all this is happening just to get the spider to America.
Yeah, it does feel
there
like...
had to be a tidier way to do that. And then even when the spider gets here, it has to take, like, a fucking homeward bound journey with a bird to even make it there. Like, gosh, dude. It just takes so long to get going.
It's a very coincidental plot. Like, everything relies on these astronomical coincidences all coming together, which is fine. You can accept that in a world that grounds you somewhere in that. Like, that is like, oh, okay, well, these things are absurd, but the world is absurd. And that's not the case with this. The world is boring. It's dry. It's not interesting.
Totally. I absolutely agree, man. Like, whenever we would both just watch this movie and we were kind of texting about it the other day, I think you were in the middle of watching it. You texted me. You're just like, I didn't think that anybody other than John Goodman was excited to be in this movie.
Yeah,
and that's kind of the vibe you get.
Yeah, I think like rewatching it, because that was my first time watching it in forever. Rewatching it, I would say that Brian McNamara, who plays the assistant that Julian Sands sends to check out the bug, I think he's doing good. And I also think Irv and Blair, who are played by Kathy Kinney and Roy Brocksmith, are doing a good job, even though the joke is that they're fat. And that's the entire joke, and that's the whole thing they keep showing us over and over, is every time they're on screen they're eating or talking about though they are eating and talking about food, or just eating.
Doing things very fatly.
Yeah.
Apparently, I guess this is just the time where that's all that you had to do to make a joke.
Yeah.
To be like, see, this person's fat, it's because they eat a lot. Hilarious, right?
Yeah, but I think why I say Roy Brocksmith and Kathy Kinney did good with that is that they just play it straight. Like they're not trying to be like, whoa, I love food or whatever, you know? But the joke isn't funny, so whatever. But yeah, the only person who's really going for it is John Goodman.
Yeah, and I wish that everybody was in the movie that he's in. Like, that's the biggest takeaway that I had, is like, John Goodman was in some other movie.
Uh-huh.
I would rather watch that movie, because I think he had so much fun doing this and getting into this character, even though a lot of his character was very much like Bill Murray in Caddyshack.
Yeah,
like he kind of had the Bill Murray Caddyshack kind of delivery.
Yeah, he did.
In a lot of ways, but it was all John Goodman, so it was fucking awesome. It's America's dad, you know?
It is. It's John Goodman. And the thing is that he, I was thinking about that after I texted you, that the majority of his scenes, he's alone. So he actually wasn't.
Yeah, he doesn't interact a lot.
Yeah, he wasn't. And he didn't know, we're all delivering it like we're on Xanax. Oh, okay.
Whoops. Maybe if I was in some scenes with other people, I would have noticed. Yeah, his character was really funny and really just, I don't know if it felt like he was written by somebody else or if it was just like he's a guy who made a conscious choice to put more into that character than everybody else did.
I can tell you a little bit. So this is produced by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. And
Spielberg and Frank Marshall had just recently worked with John Goodman. And so the idea with the movie, like when they were going to make it, Spielberg was like, okay, but you have to have John Goodman play the what is it called? Insect
Exterminator?
guy. There you go, Exterminator. You have to have John Goodman play the Exterminator. So like that was the, I guess, focal point of excitement, was we're going to have John Goodman come in and play this real funny part. But then like everything else, they were like, oh, what the fuck are we doing here? Just say the lines and we'll see if we want to do it different. No, you said it once. That's good. That's fine.
That's
whatever. Fine. Yeah. I was just reading them. Yeah, that's fine. Who cares?
Well, what you don't know though, Steve, is just how deep Spielberg's involvement goes in this, because there's a little bit of a Spielberg conspiracy I don't think you know about.
Let me hear about it.
Spielberg was a kid. He was at the beach. He got bit by a shark. He said, I fucking hate sharks. I'm going to all die. Jaws. Responsible for so many shark deaths, as we know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Later on, as an adolescent, got bit by a spider. He's like, I fucking hate these things. I want the whole world to kill these things. Let's make a movie where they're the bad guy. Kill all the spiders. Arachnophobia. Oh, except for then, later on as an adult, he went to buy a new BMW at a dealership. Fucking the German dealership ripped him off. I fucking hate Germans. Schindler's List.
You think that was what fueled his hatred of Germans? This BMW's not as good as I thought it would be.
That guy was very rude to me at the dealership. Very brisk.
I think this might be trying to make up some for the Jaws leading to shark deaths. They went.
Boy, did it ever.
They went out of their way to be like, they used actual spiders mostly.
Yeah.
And like kept them extremely safe. Like even the scene where John Goodman steps on a spider, there's a hollowed out area on the boot.
Yeah,
so that you can just step on it without actually hurting it.
Same with the book that smashed the spider. Like it had a big cutout section, so nothing was harmed. And I even saw things about like in the scenes where you see him getting washed down the drain, like
Yeah,
it just led
it's a
to a little
fake
cut where
drain.
they caught
Yep.
him, and they dried him off and stuff afterwards.
Yeah.
And they really did take immense care. And even like whenever you see dead spiders in the movie, like those are real spiders too, but they're just ones that ended their natural life cycle. They don't live forever, so they kept them and used them as the dead spiders in the movie. They apparently were extremely careful with these things, which is cool. I mean, it'd be easy to look at this and be like, oh, whatever, they're spiders, whatever, they're bugs, fuck it, you know?
Yeah.
It's still animal cruelty if you're
Yes, it is.
destroying
Yeah.
these things for a fucking movie. So it's cool
Yeah.
to see that they actually took it very seriously and took care of those things.
And they also did include that Jimmy Buffett song again, which is from the perspective of a spider telling you why
song,
you shouldn't
dude.
hurt a spider. So
It's
I think
it's so bad, Steve. It is
Yeah.
the dumbest. It is the dumbest song, man.
I think there is because this is Frank Marshall said that his inspirations for this were Hitchcock films, particularly The Birds and Jaws.
Totally. Yeah.
And you can very much see a line from Jaws to this, and then, as you said, this to Jurassic Park. And I think that this was a stopover for Steven Spielberg, where he was just trying to experiment with what he was going to do on Jurassic Park.
Sure. Yeah, man versus animal kind of stuff.
Yeah, like what works and what doesn't. And how does the humor have to be to really hit kids, but also like not make them too scared and stuff like that. I think in some ways this is an experiment in that, and that's why he's involved in it.
Yeah, totally. I can see that too, because like this movie, I will say to its credit, does sort of hold a rare spot of being a scary / thrilling movie that is absolutely family friendly.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you could totally watch this with kids and nobody would have a great time, but it'd be okay.
Nobody would have a great time. That's true. Yeah, but it's definitely aiming for a family friendly vibe, which is, I think, hugely to its detriment. And the music in this really hits that family friendly vibe in the cheesy Christian comedy sort of way.
I'm telling you, man, especially the music that plays anytime that like John Goodman is going to be on screen.
Oh, it's so bad.
It sounds like unused like first draft music from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yes,
it's just like all this fucking cheesy ass wholesome harmonica stuff. Like it makes no sense. It kind of reminds me of some of the music that's in Pumpkinhead too, where it's just like, what is this corny ass
It's so corny.
wholesome shit, dude? The soundtrack in this is not good. Like even the other non-harmonica based parts, like I really wish that fucking Jerry Goldsmith would have done the score to this, or Danny Elfman. Like there's parts in this where you could tell the soundtrack guy, whose name I can't remember right now. Who did the soundtrack?
It's Trevor Jones.
There's parts in there where you can tell that Trevor kind of aped some of Danny Elfman's stuff. Like there's a few kind of kooky, kind of Beetlejuicy sounding parts, but just like a lot of other things in this movie, it didn't go all the way there. It's like 40%, 35% instead of just really cranking it up and going for it, which again, I think is to this movie's detriment, dude. It's like you're making a movie about spiders. Just go over the top and have some fun with it. Go all in with it. Instead of trying to make it so grounded in reality.
We were talking about this before the episode, but this should be like more absurd, funnier, like more like silly, gruesome deaths, darker, like all of the things that maybe Tim Burton and Danny Elfman could add to this sort of film would have just made it better. Like Jeff Daniels said when he got the script that it was like it was written by a computer, like super formulaic,
very dry, huh?
Dry, and so like they did some rewrites and stuff, but like it comes across that way. Like it just comes across as not having much character to it, not having much like. You never even get much into Jeff Daniels. Like he tries to, he tells us his story about, the spider when he's a kid, and that's why he has this arachnophobia, but like he's so dry and so like closed off that you never feel connected to him. It's just like he's making some dry little jokes that are funny sometimes. Like there are moments in here that are definitely funny, but like it's not hitting the way it should. And we know Jeff Daniels is funny.
I was gonna say it's not even a knock against Jeff Daniels because we know he's fucking awesome, but I just think that the script was just so dry. He didn't have all that much to work with.
Yeah,
you know,
the bits where he does like, you know, where he says like, you know, maybe I'll get lucky and she'll be riddled with ailments and stuff, and then it like cuts to him and it's like clean bill of health, like that. Those are funny little moments.
Yeah,
yeah,
but just not all in. Whereas like imagine if this would have been directed by, like, let's say this era of Joe Dante where he was doing like the Burbs and shit.
It would
be
so silly. Yeah.
Or even like early Robert Zemeckis, like he could have really had some fun and made this dark, and I think just overall more appealing, because I think the way that this movie does somehow try to ground itself in some kind of reality and some kind of logic, it just doesn't make it more fun. Because especially if you're trying to make something that is specifically a family-friendly thriller horror kind of movie, you know there's going to be kids watching this. You're not making it R-rated. You know this is going to be a movie where kids are watching it. You can automatically make it a little more over the top.
Yes.
You know?
You can make
these
it
fucking
sillier.
Spiders crossbred with electric eels. Like, you know, it's like you can have some kind of fun with it.
We got to hold that for the sequel, but of course, yeah.
But you know, it's like even the spider deaths and stuff like that are just like, oh, I got bit. Oh, now I'm having a fucking seizure and I'm dead.
They just
or
die
I'm
immediately.
off screen dying. Yeah, it's like, why couldn't these have been spiders with some kind of fucking acid venom that makes your damn eyeballs melt out and your face fucking melt like Raiders of the Lost Ark? Like, why not make it something that is truly different than a regular Brown Recluse or Black Widow bite? Like, just go over the top with it.
You do that, you'd have to change the entire script. Like,
exactly.
The budget of this in 1990 is $22 million, and I don't know how. It seems too high for what the product is. Like, because most of the spiders, as we said, are real spiders. Like, there's a few spiders on strings you see, or spiders being manipulated by like magnets and stuff, but you only see one major like spider prop, which is like a 15-inch version of Big Bob, which is actually a big bird-eating tarantula that's like 8 inches in leg span. And that he plays the general spider, you know, the big bad. The mechanical double for that was about twice its size, and it was made by Jamie Hyneman of Mythbusters fame.
Damn.
Yeah, but it's not like there's a huge effects budget here. I mean, obviously the effects that are there, cool, but again, it's not huge. The names, John Goodman's probably your biggest name in this. Jeff Daniels, I guess, had done Purple Rose of Cairo, and I think he had like been nominated for something, but like he wasn't gigantic. And John Goodman's your biggest name. This is like before season 3 of Roseanne. Season 1 and 2 were gigantic. So
wow.
I don't know where the money goes in that $22 million, but it definitely doesn't show on screen. I would like to see, make it funnier by perhaps having everybody get some John Goodman enthusiasm. I don't know.
Well, and we know Jeff Daniels can do comedy.
Exactly.
Obviously.
Like
maybe not by this point in his career, but
Dumb and Dumber's just a few years after this. Like, and
that's wild.
Yeah, and he's like, having explosive diarrhea on a toilet. So like, I think he had the comic instincts, and he had the instincts to look at the script and say, well, this is definitely lacking. But I think maybe it was just too late in the process to get a full-on rewrite.
Yeah, because so many of the characters in this are just so flat. Like, tell me anything about the kids and his wife. Like, I can't even clearly picture his wife's face in my mind right now.
No,
and I just watched it the other day.
Just generic blonde lady, yeah. I would say the cop, the sheriff, he's memorable. He does a good job, and that's probably just because Stuart Pankin is a good actor.
Oh, that's probably because he's the voice of Earl, a.k.a. the dad on Dinosaurs.
That's right, Earl Sinclair. Yeah, I think
there's another Dinosaurs reference. You got to take a shot now.
Yeah.
We always fucking end up talking about dinosaurs somehow on this fucking show.
I think Julian Sands is playing the character he was given. He's the doctor, the entomologist. He's playing
and
the character
real life brother of popular font Comic Sans. Right?
Yep. That's right. Everybody
I thought he looked familiar. You can see the family resemblance there.
You can. But Comic Sans is the more silly, and he's the serious.
Exactly. Well, he's Warlock. I've never seen any of the Warlock movies. Are they any good?
I haven't seen Warlock since the 90s, and I remember it being not great. But I would love to watch it again.
Maybe it's good now.
Yeah, maybe it's good now. But he's doing exactly what they're asking of him, is to have an air of like gravitas and to just seem academic. So like there's nothing he could have done to make it better, but if in writing it they could have easily improved that character. I mean, the thing that like almost immediately turned me off to his character is when he says, oh shit, what did he call the mountains? He called them like, oh, tapuis. He said the tapuis, and the guy was like, tapuis? And he was like, oh, mountains. It's like, what the fuck do you mean? You haven't been speaking a different language up to this point. You just suddenly say tapuis? Get out of here with that bullshit.
That's like when you're in a Mexican restaurant with your dad and he orders a pollo burrito.
Let me get one of them pollo burritos.
Use that one Spanish word.
Yeah, I mean, like, his character, though, is just like, he's just boring factual exposition character. And
yeah, like, he's not like a mad scientist. It's just like, let this species grow, let it take over the town so I can see this thing evolve. Like, there's not really anything to him exactly.
Can you imagine, just imagine this, if Manly was someone that Dr. James Atherton cared about and knew, and Manly died from the spider, and Dr. Atherton needed to go back to this town to deliver the corpse, and then these deaths start happening, and he sees a correlation. He should be the main character. There shouldn't be 20 minutes of introducing these characters that don't really like each other and are entirely unrelated, and then one of them dies, and then, okay, new people and new story.
Yeah.
Like, he should, like, the doctor, the entomologist should be the one directly involved with all of this.
Yeah, or he's some kind of, like, detective side story, backstory, trying to figure out, where did that specimen go?
Exactly.
Like, doing detective work in the background while this, little town is being overrun by these things, and he's putting together the dots. He's got the red strings and the map on the wall.
Exactly.
You know? That could have been a different thing, but you're right. He just kind of is there at the start, is abandoned for a long time, comes back later. That's about it.
And then just dies. Like, it just dies again in such a coincidental thing where the other guys have figured out that the spiders are in the barn. He sees like a picture of the barn, and he's like, what is this? Take me there. Gets there before them and dies. Like, it's just such a direct, like, ridiculous coincidence where it's like, well, we need him to get there and die. And they're like, we'll just have him say, what's this? Take me there. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's exciting. Cool.
Yeah, there's not a lot of connective tissue. The characters aren't very fleshed out or interesting.
Yeah. And it's like you said, I really wish that, considering that the name of the movie is Arachnophobia, so you're thinking like the fear of spiders is going to be a really huge element in this story. Really, it's more just like spider invasion could have been the name of the movie, because even though we have this element where Jeff Daniels is talking about, this memory where he had a spider on his leg when he was a baby and he was fucking paralyzed or whatever, I mean, it just seems like even stuff like that could have been played up more, where it's like, I was 10 years old and I was chasing a rabbit through a field and I fell in a hole and I was covered in spiders and they fucking bit me all over and I spent 2 weeks on my deathbed in the hospital, or fucking spiders killed my family while I was asleep. I woke up and my parents were dead. Give me that dead Santa Claus in the chimney. Give me Joe Dante. Like,
give me a
what's his whole
flashback
thing
to
here?
a spider holding a knife up to a woman's throat.
Yeah, dude, with a switchblade, dude. It's got to be a switchblade.
Yes. Don't
But it's
kill
like
my mommy,
nothing
spider.
that bad really happened, and it's like that's the whole core of his character. But then also, he kind of gets over it pretty fast.
Yeah.
Like, he's not freaking out that bad when his
No.
entire house is being overrun by these things.
Yeah, it never does hit a heightened anxiety moment in the way that you would expect it to. Like,
Yeah.
the music should be going wild. Everything should be going crazy. The music's just kind of like in the background, just barely happening, and he's just like, "Oh no, I'm in this situation." Like,
But you know what would have been cool? Because, like, I remember whenever I was a kid and there'd be all these, TV specials and stuff where somebody would have to handle a spider. It's like, oh, you have to face your fear. You have to defeat your fear by
Right.
handling a spider, whatever. It would have been like a cool moment in this if he would have had to conquer his fear by picking up a spider that was crawling on his wife or daughter or something.
yes, exactly. Use his fear in a way that will
moves
he
the story and moves the character.
will he defend his family against a spider instead of just will he defend himself? Because that's what it ends up being. Will he defend himself against the spider? And then he does, and then he says, "Fear conquered" or something like that. Oh no! After he kills the spider, he walks over to the dead spider and says, "Therapy." Like that is he's overcome his fear, and it's like, well, that's not how that works. It would have been more like the stakes would have been better if his children or his wife needed him to save them from the spiders. But there's also the problem when they're trying to escape the house. They get to the door and there's spiders there, and they're like, "We're gonna need a different way out," and it's like, why? Just open the door.
Maybe go there.
Yeah, it's not like on the other side of the door there was like a gigantic spider. There's just like 3 spiders on the door. They're everywhere.
Isn't that also preceded by that part where he's like, we got to get out of here and be really stealthy, and everybody creeps out, and he
Throws
intentionally
the TV
flips
down.
the TV
Yeah.
over?
Yeah.
What is that helping?
I don't know. And also, I don't understand why you'd have to be quiet. What
No.
is that a thing? They tooled spiders entirely, and were just like, spiders are a different thing than you could ever imagine. They act like bees. They're attracted to sounds. They want to go where humans are. They love that stuff. These are not spider traits.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It just seems like that could have been really elaborated more as far as the actual arachnophobia and the super irrational fear and him having to conquer that fear and stuff. And it's like, instead, you kind of get this guy, Jeff Daniels, that just gets shit on the entire movie. Like, if you really think about it,
It's true.
he just gets nothing but shit on, where he's
Yeah.
like, hey, I got a job as a doctor, moves to the town, fucking old-ass doctor dick, who I want to talk about more, is like,
Yeah.
nah, never mind, I'm keeping my job. Well, I bought this nice old house in the country. Too bad it's all rotten and the floorboards and stuff are all rotten out. In fact, you can fall through 3 stories of the house. The floorboards and stuff are
Cactus
so fucking
Jack style.
rotten.
That
Yeah. Oh my God.
irritated me as someone who has built houses. If you could grab a chunk of one of your floor trusses and pull it off, the
ain't
house
walking on that shit.
is collapsed at that point. Like, there's no way. All of the weight a large majority of the weight is distributed throughout those trusses. That could not be the case. But
No, that wouldn't have passed fucking inspection, dude.
Yeah. But it is true. Like everything he wants just gets thwarted.
And he's also got this wine cellar, and he ends up having to bash all his bottles of wine and stuff at the end of the movie.
Chateau.
Except for the chateau, very important.
Yeah, that is a.
But it's like he just kind of gets shit on, and it's like, why? Like, why does all this bad stuff have to keep happening to him, and what does it contribute?
I mean, I think that's supposed to be part of the comedy that just isn't played up enough. Like, we're supposed, it's like when you watch Bob's Burgers, the same thing happens to Bob all the time, but it's funny. Like, every single plan Bob has fails.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's still funny. We're still having fun. We're still enjoying it. And this is like trying to do that same thing where it's like, look at this guy who just can't get it right. But it's not working at any point because it's hard to relate to him. One, and maybe it was easier in 1990, but from a 2021 perspective, it is hard to look at a family who is leaving behind careers because they've made so much money they just want to stop making money. And they have so much money that they have a wine cellar.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't even drink the wine. Just
he's a collector.
Purchases it because he wants to have it.
P.S. Love John Goodman talking about his beer can collection.
That was perfect. Yeah, that was
he
a
had
perfect,
to have written these lines himself.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
But like, it's real hard for him to then like have these struggles and for me to care. Like, I'm just watching it and I'm like, I don't. So your wife left a stock brokerage firm, so she just uses other people's money to buy stocks to make money off the money she makes people. She can do that from anywhere. Mm-hmm. And you're still a fucking doctor. Like, I don't relate. So like,
boo-hoo.
Yeah. So like him failing at things, I'm like, okay, cool. If it's somebody like Bob Belcher, who's like constantly ground down by life, but like still has this great treasure of a family, it's like, oh, okay, this is endearing and fun, but this just doesn't ever hit that. Yeah.
Although I gotta say, this movie did, with that old doctor character, really see through the writing on the wall of like what was coming with the boomer age of just like a bunch of people who are complaining about how, these fucking kids should get jobs. Also, I'm never retiring ever. In fact, I'm 78 years old and I'm going to run for president. I'll be 82 by the time my term is over. What the fuck? Retire, Joe. Retire.
It would be great. Well, except then we'd have Kamala Harris as our president. Boy, I don't like either one of those people.
Nope.
Anyway, so we should mention, if this is anybody's first episode, we are not conservatives.
No, we hate everybody. We hate actually everyone.
Left, hi. We're over there on the left.
Not, we're over there.
So I've been seeing a lot of people on the social medias seeing leftists say negative shit about Joe Biden and being like, well, why don't you go vote for Trump or whatever? And it's like, no, that wasn't, that's not the preference. The preference is somebody who actually gives a shit.
I think overall, I would just say our stance is nothing is left enough.
Yep, not even close.
Yeah.
So, I think that's exactly like an interesting thing too, because these would be right, like Jeff Daniels would be boomers. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing them in conflict with the generation before them,
the greatest generation.
But it's like and this is exactly like if you made this today. It would be they're struggling, like he has a whole bunch of medical school debt. Like it would be much more relatable that this guy is in his way. Yeah. Like refusing to retire for no real reason. But
yeah, totally.
Again, it's
what a
just
dick
like
move, dude. Could you imagine?
It is a real dick move.
You fucking leave California and move out to the fucking country into this house sight unseen, and you get there and this doctor's like, actually, I'm not quitting. Like, what the fuck, dude?
It's
like,
actually still California.
Really?
I at first was like, so they moved like 30 miles away from San Francisco or something? No, I looked it up. The place, I mean, not the actual, the city where they shot is supposed to be the city, I'm assuming. But they just used a different name. But it's like 2.5 hours from Bakersfield and Fresno and Santa Barbara, and those places are not like metropolises. Like it is out in the middle of nowhere. So
word.
Yeah, it's still California, but also middle of nowhere. California is an interesting state.
Well, let's talk about something here, because in his line of his doctor work that he gets here, he encounters something that, Steve, I have never encountered in my life. I realize as a homeschooled lad, my life is very abnormal to a lot of people, but I never stood in a line full of other fellers and had a doctor grab on my balls with all these other people in a line with no gloves on or nothing. Is this something that happens?
It used to. It never happened to me. By the time I was playing sports, it was considered weird. to.
I thought it was because
have
you
a
didn't grow
lot-
up Catholic.
Okay, yeah, that probably has something to do with it too. But it was by the time I was playing sports, which was 85 or 86. It was strange. You went to your physician, and got a regular physical. But yeah, they did grab the old junk and have you cough. Still don't know. I mean, I know it's to check for a hernia, but like, somebody explain it to me. Why were they grabbing young men's dicks before they played baseball? I don't know.
Well, from what I understand, like if you have whatever kind of hernia it is they're checking for, I think your like balls like shoot up or something like that. Again, I'm no fucking medical professional here, and I've never had it done or anything like that. But I'm like, couldn't you just check that yourself? Like, couldn't the doctor be like, hey, grab your balls there and cough? Did anything weird happen? All right, you're fine.
I can think of so many things you would want to check on a child's physical body before they played sports. Why is that the one? Like, why wouldn't you be like, how are your ankles? How are your knees? Like,
yeah. What about the balls? How are those doing?
But yeah, I remember hearing stories from people slightly older than me who played sports saying, yeah, that they would just basically have a doctor come and line everybody up, do the old cough dance. So that's weird, but apparently used to happen.
All right.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
It was a different time, sure.
So in addition to that little display of adolescent weird genitalia stuff, we've also got the scene that I think everybody remembers from this, the shower scene.
Yeah.
With the also very underage lady in the shower who they felt obligated to show like side boob and stuff of. Not sure if that was all that necessary.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, was she underage or was she? I mean, because the character's in high school.
Yeah,
I didn't check to see if she was underage, but it just felt like a weird scene in general. Like,
yeah, because also too, like whenever her dad and brother come in because she's screaming and stuff,
yeah,
they kind of look at her.
They do. It's
what?
And none of it was necessary. Like, it doesn't move the plot along at all. It was just for that moment to show a spider going between boobs.
Well, and again, it does make you squirm because,
sure,
you know, it's like the thought of being in the shower, you know, in a very vulnerable state and stuff, and having a spider jumping on your body when you've got all this other sensory activity of the water hitting your body and stuff, you might not notice. Although the thing jumps on her fucking face.
Yeah.
And she didn't notice, which did, like, seriously make me fucking jump out of my seat because, holy fuck. If that happened, I would probably just fucking deep throat a chainsaw because my life would never be the same again. It'd be over at that point.
That's awesome. That's a good way to go, I imagine. Just deep.
That's the end of the Evil Dead remake, I guess.
Yeah. So,
but you know, it's like
badass.
I get it, like it's effective, but at the same time, you're right. It's like it doesn't really advance the story, like, and that's overall the thing with the spiders and the threat and the danger and stuff like this that they're supposed to be posing, is that it's kind of understated up until the very end of the movie, which you could say does make the end of the movie all the more explosive because we've just been seeing spiders here and there, one or two of them at a time the whole movie.
A ton.
Yeah, and like that makes it very like, holy fuck, these things are everywhere. That's cool. But at the same time, I'm kind of thinking like, what if there was another house on the outskirts of town that you got to see completely mobbed by these spiders earlier on? So you know the true threat of like, oh shit, if there's an egg sack in the basement, you're fucking done. Like this whole family got wiped out and the whole house is covered in webs or some crazy shit, you know? But throughout the movie, it's just kind of like one or two at a time. Here's one there, here's one there. And I don't know, man. It's like, it's effective in the fact that in your everyday life, you come across a spider or two so you can relate to it. But I don't know if it cinematically drives up the danger. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think there are so many ways they could have more effectively used the spiders to actually create fear in people who aren't even particularly afraid of spiders. because this spider we're being presented with has a particularly strong venom. It's a killer. So what we're seeing is a silent killer killing. There's scenes where I thought they kind of effectively did that with like the spider in the lampshade that kills the first lady, Margaret. Yeah, I thought that was good. I thought they did a good job of like setting up the anticipation of this like silent killer and like us watching her like touching areas where it is. And they do that a few other times, but it never increases the tension to the level you want, which is exactly like what you're saying. If we saw a house overrun earlier, like to see the potential they can have, like that then sets up the danger for the rest of the movie instead of that being the only danger.
And I get it, because at the time that this is being made and stuff, you know, this is like right before stuff would be being done with really shit CGI.
Yeah.
If this movie would have been made in 1995, it would have been all
so
garbage
terrible.
CG, and it would be fucking terrible.
Yeah.
So it's like, I get it. They had to kind of save all the spiders for that one scene at the very end of the movie, which is a great payoff.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like, I feel like if this was remade, you know, if this was one of those ones that gets granted a remake, there's ways that it could be done better. And at the end of the day, I also know it would end up being way worse, because it would just be 100% CG. Like, they wouldn't use real spiders for any of this shit.
No, they wouldn't. And you
it
just
would really
can't
take you out of the danger.
Yeah. I have not seen a good rendering of a CG spider that really works.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, none of them are really getting into that tactile thing where you can feel the nasty hairs on their legs crawling across it.
Yeah,
I fucking hate those things.
I would love to see like H.R. Giger's interpretation of spiders. Like, if he were still alive and he had him work on Arachnophobia with anybody, I would love to see the result.
Yeah, no doubt. Although I will say, the effects in this, as we said, are mainly real spiders and stuff, but there are some robotic ones, and there are some fun things that they did.
Yeah,
like, I love those close-up shots where you see like the eyes on the spider and stuff. Like, watching shit. Like, those shots look really good. There's not really a lot of effects in this that took me out. I mean, there's a few spots where you can definitely tell, okay, that's a mechanical spider or a puppet or whatever. They had a few puppet shots in there. Mm-hmm. But it's not bad. It's still better than if I saw something that was obviously CGI and not scary whatsoever. I don't really have any complaints about the effects.
No, I think, I'm with you. I think it looks good. There were only a couple times where I could see, like... Actually, there was only one time where I could see a string that they did not effectively hide as a web. Mm-hmm. Where it was like, you could see the knot in the string. That was the shower scene.
Oh, yeah. Apparently some of those, they would... like lightly gas the spiders to like make them sleep, and then tie apparatuses to them for shots like that. Yeah, they were totally okay though. Like we said, none of them died or anything.
Right. So aside from that though, the use of spiders and the animatronic spider, they all look good. I don't have any problems with that, and I would like to have seen maybe a little bit more like Gremlin style grossness, like more
totally, me too.
Like exploding gross spider stuff, but again, as we said, it's a Disney's first attempt at a horror film, and it's obviously really trying to mellow out any sort of true like frightening moments, and it does that successfully.
It does, man. Although the best special effects shot in the movie is when that cat steals that piece of bread off that sandwich. I was stunned.
Yeah.
That shot was amazing.
Yeah. Why did it go for the bread, you wonder?
I don't know. Not really sure about that. Well-trained cat, I'll tell you that. I will say, on like a positive note, I do think the ending of the movie, like the last 30 minutes or so, I think are very effective.
Yeah,
like at that
it
point,
gets on a roll there and kind of works. Yeah.
Yeah, because like at that point, I was already pretty fucking bored by this movie, frankly. And even at the end of the movie, like I was like reawakened, like, oh shit, like these things are fucking everywhere. They're coming out of the drains. They're coming down the walls. They're, coming down on their webs and stuff. Like I was actually pretty gripped at the end of the movie. Again, partially because I hate spiders. So it's like, I'm automatically going to be more affected by it than some people. You know, it's like, well, you don't even have to film it well. I will be scared of the spiders that are on screen.
Because there are spiders there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like them. But I do think the end of the movie is very, very good.
Yeah.
So much of the rest of the stuff is just so slow, though.
Yeah, it is. It's too slow. If it got there more quickly, you know, again, if Jeff Daniels wasn't the focus, or if you want him to be the focus, make him the entomologist character, and then, you know, as you said, like, yeah, show us the danger earlier. Like, what is the true extent of their destruction?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, this could definitely be a lot better. I do like that they moved back to San Francisco and then immediately get hit with another natural occurrence, an earthquake. Which,
I like that, where there's there's no beating nature, like man versus nature. Like, well, nature always wins. You can't escape from it. I do think that was a fun ending. I enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, and there is the through line about the chateau. Like, when they're unpacking the stuff, the guy, you know, he tells them to be careful with it, to not mix up the sediment or whatever. And then, like, later when he's throwing the bottles, like, he says, not the chateau. And then they're going to drink it right there. And then they go to check on the kids. Like, right before they get to drink it, there's the earthquake. They go to check on the kids, and then an aftershock knocks over the wine glasses. So there's this little sort of funny bit about the chateau going on, but it's like, again, that's just like, it's so mild, such a mild thing that like never gets, there's no like counter to it. We need some extremes so that the mild stuff is funnier. Like, you can have sort of like mild, dry humor that then really hits. Like, I would say a huge amount of Tucker and Dale versus Evil is pretty mild, tepid reactions to stuff, and that's why it's funny. True. Like, hey, college kids, we got your friend. Like, it's hilarious because of just how like mild the statement is to them, but then like the context makes it like frightening and scary to the kids. So like, I just think that like, this could have been improved so much by just embracing the absurdity of a bunch of spiders taking over a town.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, you didn't have to have the huge long setup to describe how they got there. You didn't have to ground the spiders in reality, yet make their psychology completely be unrealistic. Like, it's like you said, I wish they would have just really cashed in on going all out with this. Soundtrack, humor, horror, gore, everything. I just really wish would have been amped up a little bit. But I know that a lot of people love this movie. Like, I think that we're kind of in the minority, especially for our age group, because I know a lot of people that watched this when they were kids and it scared the shit out of them, and they were allowed to go see it as kids because it wasn't rated R.
Right.
So it's probably like a lot of people's first horror movie when they were 5 or 6 years old, and they remember it fondly. But again, I didn't watch it when I was a kid. I watched it as an adult, so I don't have the nostalgia.
Just didn't get into it. But I can see people having a nostalgic connection to it. It's definitely like mild enough that it would never get scary, like too scary that it would make you want to not see it again. Like, that's kind of when you're dealing with kids and like, mild, soft horror things like Hocus Pocus or whatever. Like, you gotta like make them feel a little bit of that like titillating fear, but also it's got to be safe. And so Arachnophobia is aiming for that, and as an adult that just doesn't work. Like, I'm just not interested in that.
Yeah, and you can kind of tell from some of the press and stuff that they really thought that they were super onto something here. Like, they dubbed it like a fucking thrill-omedy or some shit like that. It's like, come the fuck off it. And like, one of the taglines for the movie was so fucking stupid. It was like, the fun of Back to the Future plus the suspense of Alien. And it's like, wow, you guys thought highly of this. Holy shit, man. Not even
close. What are
you talking about?
So the person who saw that was like, I watched Back to the Future. I think that was like mildly fun, right? So it's like that.
It's kind of. Yeah, it's about the same, I guess.
It's ridiculous. Wow. I love that you brought that up, though. I didn't read that. That's insane. That's
yeah, terrible, man. But, I will, from here on out, continually go back to that outro song by Jimmy Buffett. I think that's a new favorite now. Don't Bug Me or whatever it's called.
Don't bug me or mug me. Mug me?
Mug me?
How do you
I
mug
stick
a
up
spider?
bugs very often. Give me everything you got. I'm broke. All right, move on.
Here's my spider cash.
Oh, my spider bucks. But I'll tell you what you don't know, though, is that, the song that we got at the end is infinitely better than the first draft that he turned in, which was Cheese Spider in Paradise.
Oh, God. Oh, cheese spider. Because that makes me immediately think of biting into a spider and
vomits.
Yep.
Yeah, so if it's not clear, didn't love this one.
No, not a big
You
fan.
got a number you'd put these 8-legged things on a scale of 1 to 10?
I mean, it's not a fun watch for me. It doesn't.
It's long too.
Yeah, it's long. It doesn't actually make me laugh much. And the bits that do make me laugh, like, I could think of a million other things I could watch that would make me laugh more and be.
You could probably find a YouTube video of just John Goodman scenes on YouTube that's about 2.5 minutes long and be like,
and nails
that's all the best
exactly
parts.
what you need to see. So
yeah,
I'm not a big fan. I don't think that it. I don't think it's for me, but I'm judging it right now, and by judging it, I'm gonna say like a 2.5, maybe 2. It's a 2.
Yeah,
it's a bad.
I get it,
but there've been worse movies that I would give a higher score because they're entertaining. This just
totally
doesn't ever lean that way.
Yeah, it's never like bad enough to be funny bad or like campy bad, nor
it's
is
just
it
competent. It's like competently bad. And it's like, well, that's no fun for anybody.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. It's like it's just so long and so dry and so dull in some parts that I don't really have much of a desire to watch this again anytime soon. It's like 90s as fuck. It's so fucking early 90s.
It is.
That it gets like a little bit of a nostalgia bump for me.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that bit.
And again, John Goodman is fantastic in this. He's the king, dude. John Goodman can fucking improve any movie. But at the same time, imagine without John Goodman, how fucking droll this movie would be.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you could have brought in somebody else that would have tried to hit that silly level, maybe. But, I just don't see anybody but John Goodman doing it, and nobody could have brought as much life to a kind of lifeless movie as John Goodman did.
Yeah, he overachieved in this, for sure, by a mile. But, like I said, I'll give it a little bit higher rating than you because I am just naturally a little bit more scared of spiders. So there were definitely scenes in this that I was going, like it was effective in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So there were scenes in here that definitely had me squirming. But I'm just going to say like a 3.5.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's pretty fair to me. But I know that's not going to be a popular opinion. So you guys be sure to let us know your opinions about it on the Facebook and Instagram groups and everywhere else that we hang out. We hang out all over the place.
We got facebook.com/Dead and Lovely and at Dead Lovely Pod on Twitter and Instagram. We got a Discord. I post the Discord link every Friday all over the place. What else we got? I don't know.
We got a place where you can contribute movies that we're going to cover on the show in the future for dollar paper.
Patreon.com/Dead and Lovely. Head on over there. If you become a patron at any level, you get our Patreon exclusive episodes that we release. And if you become a $5 patron, you get to submit a movie to the Smokin' Bowl over here, from which we then draw, and then we cover that movie at the end of the month. But this month, Fanuary, we've been covering those submissions all damn month. I mean, it's the second episode, but all damn month.
All month so far. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm. So head on over there. Become a patron.
That's right. Give us some dollar papers and give us some reviews for free on the Apple Podcast and anywhere else you can review a podcast. Seriously, it really does help us out a ton.
It does.
Go in there and drop your boys a review. It would help us out a lot. And be sure to tune in next week on the show, we're going to be talking about another Fanuary pick. What are we doing next week, Steve?
We are going to be talking about Young Frankenstein, which my wife picked it for her birthday. And she's one of our biggest fans.
Wow.
Yeah.
How nice. How sweet. I'll tell you what, though. This is going to be kind of a weird one for us to review because, I mean, I like the movie and all that stuff, but we're going to be talking about Young Frankenstein, which is my favorite SoundCloud rapper. It's a little bit of a twist.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be kind of some new turf for us. I'm not really quite sure how we're going to,
wait,
doesn't
he have that one where he's like...
Yeah, and then the chorus is like, fire, fire,
Yeah.
So tune in next week. We'll be talking about Young Frankenstein, our favorite SoundCloud rapper.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun old episode because I love that movie.
Yeah, me too. Haven't seen it in a couple of years. Excited to talk about it. It's going to be
also,
interesting.
It's got to be the only Mel Brooks we can do.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting talking about Mel Brooks style humor and trying to break it down. I don't right? What do you say? It's funny. If you don't get it, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, spoilers for the next episode. You just heard the whole episode, I guess. Yeah. All right, so be sure to tune in then. Hope everybody out there is doing well, staying happy, healthy, and wealthy, and still washing your fucking hands. There's a goddamn global pandemic out there.
That's true.
Wear a fucking mask. Quit being a little bitch about it, man.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah, put on your mask, turn into that green-headed guy, and say smoking. I
think that's how it works. Yes.
That happens every time I do it, and then your eyes bulge out, and like, woo, God. Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly how
Cameron
it goes.
Diaz or whatever.
Yeah, it happens.
I don't remember the mask that well.
I don't either. It's actually been a while since I saw that. I bet it doesn't hold up very well.
I feel like it probably doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. But anyway, tune in next week. You guys have been fantastic. We have been dead and lovely. We'll be catching you guys soon. Bye now.
Seltzer here.
Ooh, man, I had a crack.
Yeah.
Was that some spicy water?
Some of that spicy water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was thinking about, so do you think that there is an old person out there who, like, they are so, like, anti-spice that if they took a drink of seltzer water, their brain would explode.
It's
like
hot.
Too much.
It's cold
too much.
and it's hot.
Oh, it burns. It freezes.
Yeah, they'd go full
That's my
fucking
terrible
Smeagol on that
Gollum there.
thing. That's kind of a weird Gollum. I can't lie. It's a little awkward. It burns.
I'm Gollum. It burns.
That's a good Gollum impression right there.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's like my Chewbacca. I'm Chewbacca.
I'm a Chewbacca man.
I'm Kermit the Frog. This is my impression. That's a pretty good one, too, I think.
Yeah, that one actually was really good.
Yeah, very accurate.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Bill Clinton. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
You sound just like him. It's amazing.
I know.
I'm the Queen of England.
Holy
Good
shit,
day.
Your Majesty.
That's right.
My
See,
God.
You really thought it was her there for a second, didn't you?
I did, and I immediately became stricken with a fear that the Queen would sick her corgis on me.
And colonize you.
Yeah, and colonize me.
These things happen, man. They do happen. Ben and Steve, masters of disguise.
It does.